Hi, I'm John Sileo. Right now, businesses are talking about the Red Flags Rule, which is a ruling by the FTC that says your business needs to come up with an identity theft prevention plan, a written plan that outlines what you do to protect your customers from identity theft. Now, everybody's completely overwhelmed by the fact that these rules go into effect on June 1st, 2010, so in a couple of days. You don't need to be overwhelmed. Essentially, what it means is that you as a business, if you extend any type of credit to your customers, meaning you bill them for services or for a product which they pay at a later date, 5 days, 10 days down the road, or if you're a financial institution, a bank or a financial advisor, that means that you have to adhere to these the Red Flags Rule. There are a series of steps that you can go through. It's not an easy process, but it's nothing to be overwhelmed with. And in the end, it helps you protect your business against data theft and workplace identity theft. Now, a lot of people want to do this on their own. So I want to send you the video that comes on right after this. We'll give you a sense of what you need to do. And the Federal Trade Commission website is a great place to start. If you want a little bit more hand-holding, but you don't want to pay for a lawyer to do this for you, we offer boot camp seminars. It's called the Privacy Survival Boot Camp, and you can find out more about it at this website, Sileo.com, the site you're on right now. Just take a look a couple posts down, and you'll see more about the Red Flags rules and coming to one of our boot camps. Thanks so much.
Each year, thieves steal the identities of an estimated 9 million Americans. Identity thieves drain bank accounts, damage credit histories, and can even doctor medical records, putting a victim's health in danger. Identity thieves inflict harm on businesses too, leaving behind bills they have no intention of paying. I'm Pablo Zilberglade, an attorney at the Federal Trade Commission. The FTC is the nation's consumer protection agency and believes that preventing identity theft requires a holistic approach. Even when businesses protect the personal information they have on file, thieves can find ways to steal it and use it to open or access accounts. And that's why I want to tell you about a new law, the Red Flags Rule. The Red Flags Rule was put in place to help you detect fraud that might be committed on your business. Identifying the red flags of identity theft, the signs that a crook is using someone else's information, is important to your daily operations and your business's reputation. Identifying those signs will help you spot suspicious patterns if they arise and help you stop a red flag from turning into a costly episode of identity theft. This video has practical advice on how to determine whether the red flag rule applies to your business, and if it does, how you can develop a written identity theft prevention program that's appropriate to your risk. The rule applies to financial institutions and creditors. In this case, that includes many businesses, organizations, nonprofit groups, and government agencies that may not typically think of themselves that way. Say, for example, your business offers accounts that allow people to make payments or transfers to third parties using a debit card, a check, or maybe a wire transfer. Your business would be considered a financial institution under the Red Flags Rule. Or maybe you sell goods or services and bill people later. Perhaps you offer your own credit card or arrange credit for your customers by collecting credit applications. Your business would be a creditor under the rule. But you'll be happy to know that just accepting credit cards as a form of payment doesn't make you a creditor. If your business's activities don't meet these definitions, you are not covered by the Red Flags Rule. But if you are a financial institution or a creditor, your next step is to look at your accounts to figure out if they're covered. In general, two kinds of accounts are covered. One is a consumer account that allows multiple payments or transactions. These might be credit card accounts, checking and savings accounts, mortgage or car loans, accounts related to cell phones, utilities, or medical treatment, or even student accounts with a university. This type of account is always covered. The other type of account that's covered is one that presents a reasonably foreseeable risk from identity theft. You'll need to consider accounts between businesses as well as single transaction consumer accounts, say a car dealer who helps someone finance a car. Analyze the risk. Consider how the account is opened and accessed, and whether there have been any incidents of identity theft involving an account like this. If you haven't heard of identity theft happening in your industry, or if it hasn't happened to your business, the foreseeable risk from identity theft is probably low. If you don't have any covered accounts, you don't need a written program. Just check periodically to see if you've acquired any accounts that meet the definition. That would change your responsibility under the rule. But if you do have covered accounts, the next step is to design your program. The Red Flags rule is about fraud detection. But one incident of identity theft does not mean you've violated the law. The point is to have reasonable processes in place to detect fraud. What if you have accounts that are covered by the rule, but your business is at a low risk for identity theft? You'll need a written program, and that's simple and straightforward to do. In fact, the FTC has a template that businesses and organizations at low risk for identity theft can use to create their program at ftc.gov/redflagsrule. Regardless of your risk, writing an identity theft prevention program involves 3 basic steps. First, identifying red flags that you might run across in your business. Second, developing a process for detecting them. Third, identifying what you'll do if you detect a red flag. Let's start with step 1. Identifying the red flags that you might run across. You may already be familiar with a few of these. For example, warnings from a credit reporting company about someone's account. Notice from law enforcement that someone's been the victim of identity theft, or suspicious documents or personal identifying information or unusual account activity. Although there's no one-size-fits-all approach, consider the risk factors you might encounter in your business. The warning signs for consumer accounts may be different from those for a business account, or the red flags for account opened online or by telephone may be different from those involving face-to-face contact. Another factor to consider is whether your industry has been affected by identity theft. Have you heard about occurrences in businesses like yours from contacts in your industry, at conferences or in news reports? The bottom line here is that a red flag could signal that fraud is afoot. Moving on to step 2, detecting red flags in your day-to-day operations. For example, if you use reasonable procedures when you're verifying the identity of someone opening a new account, you already have a fraud detection process in place to incorporate into your program. Maybe it's getting a name, address, or some kind of identification number you use to check against information from other sources. If you're verifying someone's identity in person, you might check a current government-issued identification, like a driver's license. You may want to ask additional questions to verify someone's identity if you have reason to be suspicious. The rule is flexible. Your approach to detecting red flags should be based on what makes the most sense for your business. Step 3, responding to a red flag. What are you going to do about it, and how do you want your staff to handle it? You may want to monitor an account for evidence of identity theft, or you may decide to contact the customer, close their account, or recommend a change of passwords and security codes. If an account holder tells you he's a victim of identity theft, consider asking for a police report to confirm the crime before you spend time and money trying to collect on the account. Notifying law enforcement also is an option. So what's next for your program? Keeping it up to date. Identity thieves are resourceful and use new twists in their tactics all the time. The Red Flags rule recognizes this and requires businesses to update their plans. Your program has to be approved by your board of directors. If you don't have a board, approval is a job for your senior managers. Your program has to be run by senior level employees as well. Of course, all employees in a position to detect red flags need to know what to do if they see a mismatch or other suspicious sign. The FTC's Red Flags Rule website has much more information about compliance at ftc.gov/redflagsrule.